So I'm going to share my screen. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you here. I'm going to make sure you can hear all right, my mic is on, and when I share, I want to make sure we have audio as well. All right.
Well, we can definitely hear you, and now we see your screen coming up.
Got fundable logo. All right. Let's
Yes, we do see it, Merrill.
There we go. All right. So, again, my name is Merrill Chandler. We'll get to all of our fun today, but we're going to be talking about not credit card stacking, not credit repair. These are honest to God business lines of credit. When you hear the term business lines of credit, you think of the top tier banks, the Wells, the Chases, the Bank of Americas, and a business line of credit. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to run a little intro video, and then we'll go from there. So buckle up. Let's take a look at where we're going because we're going to have some fun today. Hang on. Can you guys see the indicators on top of the on the shared screen? Do you see my Zoom indicators up there? Just want to make sure you've got a clear view.
Yes.
You can see them?
Yeah, we can see everything perfectly.
No, I'm saying the Zoom indicators where it says stop share, meeting is being recorded. Do you see any indicators up there or just my logo?
We just see your screen and your logo.
Perfect. Okay. Here we go, guys.
What if the funding you've been chasing could finally become a reality? Meet Merrill Chandler, America's leading funding expert and author of the Amazon bestseller, The New F Word. With almost 35 years of experience in personal and business credit approvals, plus decades in personal transformation and human experience optimization, Merrill knows exactly what it takes to get lenders to say yes. He's the founder of GetFundable.com, a proven 5-step system that turns complex credit and financing challenges into a clear, simple, and easy checklist. So entrepreneurs, real estate investors, and ambitious professionals can access the funds they need to grow and thrive. But Merrill isn't just about credit lines and approvals. He's an adventurer, motivational speaker, and disruptor who challenges the norm, sparks transformation, and guides clients to break through results that level up their lives. So what are you waiting for? Visit Chandler360.com to unlock funding approvals, gain financial control, and start building the life and business you've been dreaming of.
Awesome. So that encapsulate what we're doing here. The exact title, as you saw in the emails that Linda so wonderfully sent out to everybody, is our $1 million freedom formula. It is 5 steps to get you, depending on where you and your business are, $100 to $1 million. And so what we're going to be looking at today is in the next 60-ish minutes, I'm going to show you about the very things that Linda was talking about, how to get up to that says 100 million. All right, let's go to 100 million. That's supposed to be 1 million. Prime plus 1% stated income, unsecured top tier bank business lines of credit. And how many of you would love to be a participant in that, in being able to get $1 million lines of credit that are prime plus 1%, top tier bank unsecured, et cetera, right? The thing that I want right now, your BS meters might be just going off, right? Well, here's what we want to start with today. Until we make our unconscious conscious, it will direct our lives, and we will call it fate. Carl Jung's one of my favorite. I call him a philosopher more than a psychologist, psychiatrist, because we are programmed with so many beliefs that we don't do and take advantage of opportunities because we believe it's not possible, or we don't even fathom the opportunity, right? Well, a little bit about me. I personally have implemented this system, exactly what I'm talking to you about tonight. I've got $2.4 million in change, credit, financing, and funding, exactly implementing what we are talking about. Now, my team and I have helped since 2017. So 9 years, almost 300 million in approvals. And in the last 6 months, we've done 1.5 million in just these business bank credit lines alone. So, question is, how do we do it? Well, let me ask you a question, and this question is really important. If you could sit down with an underwriter who would tell you exactly what to do to get approved, how to check every single box on an application and get approved for multiple unsecured stated income, no doc, $100,000 lines of credit, would you? Let me see by a show of hands. How many of us would check it? How many of us would want to know how to check those boxes, right? Well, that is the point here. So the question is, some of you may have heard me. Some of you have no clue of who I am and what I've been doing for the last 30 years. And that's okay, because the question for you is, why should you trust this? Why should you believe what I'm talking about tonight? And the first thing is that and I'll tell you a story to illustrate. So I'm sitting at a business conference, right? And we're having dinner at the end of the conference, and we're talking, we're joking around with some of the others because it's a super technical conference, right? Underwriting, algorithms, the whole 9 yards stuff. Some of it is way over my head. And a gentleman walks up and he introduces, and he sits down and begins to talk to us at the table. And he hears me and a couple of the other folks talking. And he hears me talk about how I make borrowers fundable. And he's like, well, tell me a little bit more about your business model. Well, come to find out that this gentleman is Will Lansing, the CEO of FICO. He asked, are you credit repair? I said, no. Tell me a little bit more about how you make borrowers fundable. I say, people, you guys know that there are underwriting guidelines, and some people just don't get to be able to hit that underwriting approval. They're under the denial threshold. Change their borrower behaviors to get over that approval limit. And he looks at me very curiously, and in greatest words I've probably heard in my professional life, he goes, I'd like to invite you to sit down with my personal and business credit platform teams. Now, this is insane. I no idea. I come to find out when I sit down with these guys that you can see there's personal credit score developers. Dave is with the SBSS lender underwriting liaison, Joanne. We sit down with this group of people, and interestingly enough, Mr. Lansing said, you can ask any question. It's got to be a yes or no, and we will say yes or no about your assumptions. We can't give away the secret sauce, but just so you know, I signed 2 NDAs to even be able to have that conversation. We sat down. I come to find out that the 3-digit score that we call our credit score, that 3-digit score is a small percent of how they make their money. Their number one revenue generator is the underwriting software that they lease to lenders. Lenders put in their underwriting criteria, the check boxes I've been talking about. They put in their underwriting criteria, and then FICO's software drives the approvals or the denials. I didn't know this. I thought lender software was lender software. They lease this software from FICO, right? And so over the course of the last 10 years, FICO, again, I've been to all of the FICO worlds since 2016. So this was the 10th year of attending all of these FICO world events where all the lenders get together to share what's happening in underwriting, and it's hosted by FICO. Well, here is an example of me and my team sitting down. I'm over there in the top center. David Smith, you'll see a little bit more of him. He's in the far right. We're meeting with the FICO leaders about what's happening, and that's why we attend these events. And so year after year after year, we've gone to FICO, and we're the only borrower-facing organization. Everybody else represents lenders. We're the borrower organization that because it's off mission for lenders to train their borrowers on how to get approved. That's conflict of interest. It's off mission for FICO to train borrowers how to get approved, because they're supposed to be the neutral observer and the measurer of credit profiles, right? To build the score. So, but everybody has invested heavily in us, me doing these very presentations, educating around the country to bring people up to speed on how you can be bank approval ready. So, a perfect example, Glenn Grossman was part of the originations group there at FICO World. And in his own words, Merrill Chandler knows more about how to use the FICO score than most FICO employees do. FICO provides the analytics and creates the score, but Merrill shows borrowers and business owners how to apply the FICO metrics in their financial lives. So Merrill's approach is distinctive and far more impactful than the myriad of credit and funding services and personal finance websites. So Glenn Grossman, business originations. That means the people who originating loans and lines of credit. David Smith, as I introduced a moment ago, he is 20 years with FICO, and he's the key account partner and small business segment leader. He's the man over all business underwriting, and the SBSS score is the business underwriting score for just like the FICO 3-digit FICO score that we have on personal, the SBSS dominates the business scoring. But he is also our FICO liaison, and he attends. We have community calls that love to invite you to. On Tuesdays, it's free. You can ask any question you like. He comes to these Tuesday calls on the regular to update us on what's happening in lending, answer questions, and he and I have a great rapport with each other. We've been working with each other for almost 10 years now, and he loves attending our community calls. Now, we have, of course, they're not the only ones. We have dozens and dozens and hundreds of people who have witnessed in their own experience that $300 million as a community. So many people have written so many wonderful things about their experience here. All right, so yay, I'm flexing. What does this actually mean to you? Well, what it means is that you now, as a member of this community, you have an inside track to know what's actually happening behind the underwriter's closed doors. How many of you have tried to do a loan, mortgages, anything, and they're like, yeah, let me go talk to underwriting. And so they go behind the door, right? There, and where the griffins and the unicorns and all the other mysterious mythological creatures live. How many of you have even met an underwriter in the wild, right? Most of us haven't. That's all who I meet with in my lenders meetings at FICO World. So what this means is that I have a connection that is 10 years in developing this technology so that you don't have to learn it for yourself. And we're going to check those boxes. So my promise in the next few minutes is to let you know that whatever you have believed about business credit lines, perfect example of false beliefs. How many of you heard or have you been pitched or actually spent money on somebody saying, let's build your Paydex credit score, your business credit score, help you establish business credit? Do you realize they're not one of the top 20 bank lenders use the Paydex score? They use D&B data, but every underwriter, the FICO software, nobody uses Paydex. That is a borrower-facing score. That faces you. They want to sell you a credit score. That isn't what lenders use, guys. So there is a simple path to get from where you are now to those funding approvals. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. I call it the $1 million freedom formula, but that's just simply saying that once you have these credit lines, it's not like hard money where you have to, it's not deal based, it's financial reputation based. You don't have to disclose where you're using the money. And so in our process, we show you how to get business credit lines and then use it to build the various aspects of your empire. All right. So no matter whatever your financial goal is, the bottom line is you have to be bank approval ready. You have to have a personal and business borrower profile that checks all those boxes. Unfortunately, the problem is that lenders right now, out of the gate, they don't trust you. They don't trust you. But why? Well, the reason they don't trust us is because there are 5 major obstacles that until now, you might not even be aware of them. But these obstacles throw up flags or triggers where you're screaming to the lender, don't lend to me. Number 1, your business data and identity are confusing. And so banks don't trust who you say you are. For perfect example, how many times have you, during COVID, did you move home and started using a different address? You made applications, even a business credit card from home, but you didn't update any of the 21 databases that track your business data. So when you move, when you change, when you do something different, and you don't broadcast it and get it updated to all the business databases, you have mixed data, you send mixed signals, and lenders either deny you or they're going to give you a low limit approval. Here's a perfect example. Part of the reason why they don't trust you is, and I'm just the messenger. I'm here to, I'm speaking the truth to power. If your business name has any of these words in it, these are funding killer words. If your business description says any of these things, you're literally telling a lender, don't lend to me. Here's what happens. When you decided to go into real estate investing, you decided to become a business owner, you've thought of a cool word, what you wanted, a title for your business, right? The name of your business. And nobody taught us before how to, what lenders are looking for. We don't know what a fundable business name is. And so those words, each Secretary of State, they are mandated by the feds to collect what segments of the economy are growing in your state. So these clerks, literally employees of the state Secretary of State office, they read the name of your business and its business description, and then they go look up in business code databases, and they assign you a 4 or a 6-digit number. Some people know it as the SIC code or the NAICS code, but some rando is assigning a business code to you that the lenders, when they do the lookup in underwriting, they reject you. You are in a restricted industry. Do you know that, no joke, real estate investors are classified with gambling debt, adult sites, fortune tellers, nonprofit organizations, and cannabis industry, all restricted industries. And you guys, because you didn't know until now, when you filed the name of your business, you literally flagged yourself that says, nope, don't send me, don't approve me for money. That's just the first obstacle. Obstacle number 2, you don't have banking partnerships that have correctly labeled with that are viable credit line banks. Some of you inherited your banking relationships from family, from a partner. You just bank where you bank because you do. And no matter how much money you put through there, you likely, besides being restricted, you're likely you can be with a bank that will never lend you a dime unless it's a mortgage or an auto loan or perhaps a credit card. They don't even offer it, or it's reserved for particular top tier borrowers or preferred client borrowers. And if we don't fit those criteria, we'll never hear from them. So you haven't set up a relationship with a bank that will lend to you. Next, many of you may have tons of money going through your accounts, your balances and the deposits in and the expenses out. They measure what's called internal performance data. They measure how you run your deposits and your expenses. They know where the money's coming from. They know where the money's going. It's called, look it up. It's called early warning services. They will track where those dollars are coming from. If you don't know how this game is played, we think, let's put it this way. We think we're going to play American football and it's a rugby match. Same kind of ball, horribly different, radically different rules. And so American footballers, no matter how tough they are going to get killed in a rugby match. So if we don't know, we're the rugby. I'm just saying, us borrowers, we're the American football team. We're going to get slaughtered unless we know what game we're playing. All right. So plus, we don't know how to complete a credit application. You don't even know when it asks for annual income. You don't even know. Do you realize it's much more than they are willing to take a number that represents things you aren't even aware of yet? So if we don't know the rules of the game, we will never win it. Okay. All right. Number 4. Bad borrower profile. You might have multiple, if you guys have looked at your credit report recently, you might have, I call it multiple identity syndrome. Multiple versions of your name, addresses that are that may be accurate, may not be accurate. Some of you might have derogatory accounts that are slowing your funding opportunities. There are workarounds for all of these that don't include credit repair. And number 5 is consumer borrower behaviors. There are borrower behaviors, you guys, where they literally track 40 metrics. And those 40 metrics over the preceding 24 months. And so I'd like to show you guys what actually gets you approved. You guys, can I go off book here for a second? It's on an easel, so it's not even part of this presentation. So hang on just a second, and I'm going to stop my share, and let's go over here. And can you guys see can you see my easel here? Raise your hand. Can you tell? Can you see my easel? All right. So
I can see it. Yes.
All right. Very good. So let's grab this. I'm here to break it to you. Your credit score has never gotten you approved for anything ever. Never has and never will. Okay, that's part of what I was talking about. That second slide that says, until we make the unconscious conscious. Most of us believe our credit score is a factor in our approvals. So we walk around with our high 700s, high 800s, and we're not getting the credit lines that we want. It is not true. Your credit score has never gotten you approved. And I'm going to show you how it actually works. This is straight from FICO's mouth when we met with them about how to become bank approval ready. All right. So right now, that line right there is what we call the denial threshold. Let me pull it over here. Denial. Let's call it 720. We're just going to call it 720. If you get a a credit offer in the mail or the email, it means that you are on that lender, because everybody has uses different credit to bureaus. For that lender, for that credit bureau, you're above the denial threshold. You would never get it unless you were over the denial threshold. That's the only thing your score does at this point. You're not even in the game, you're in the auditorium. All right. Then they look at 40 borrower behaviors. Okay. 40 borrower behaviors for the preceding 24 months. All this data is on your credit profile, guys. And so, oh, and by the way, lenders get a completely different credit report on you than when you order your credit report. Completely different. Okay. So these 40 borrower behaviors, and if you get approved, then and only then does your credit score come in. And if you have a 720 or an 820, tells you how much money they will risk with you. But you're approved here. You're approved here. This is how much dollars they will risk. And so this is where you get $200 approval, 2,000, 20,000, 200,000. That's up here. That's the only, your score matters after you've been approved. Tell me you guys understand what I'm saying. Is this making sense? Are you following the madness? This is a complete horrible misrepresentation of what we've been told, complete lies out there. So this is how it works. All right. Awesome. So I'm going to share again and get back over here. All right. So that's what I mean by borrower behaviors, you guys, is we've got to know that our borrower behaviors are checking off all the underwriting boxes. Now, good news is what gets us past these obstacles, the $1 Million Freedom Formula is the perfect solution. I'm going to reveal the details to you in a minute, but first you should see why it's so easy and predictable and stress-free, you guys. Once you check the boxes, okay, here's the question for you. If you know what boxes to check and you meet all the criteria, because you know who is actually in charge of your approvals. It's not the lender. Lender software is literally just watching what boxes you check. We are in charge of our approvals. I love that kind of power because now I just want to know what the truth is and how to make it happen, right? So I'm going to show you right now how we counteract these 5 obstacles that lenders are literally watching. They're just getting ready to throw away throw away your application. All right. So first of all, let's take a look. This is the only clear way to success. Number 1, we've got to make your business identity approval ready. We've got to tailor both the business data points and the personal data points to make sure that the lender knows who they're giving their money to. Because since 2008, the great debacle of mortgage lending, but nobody ever talks about how much money was lost in business lending. Full doc isn't as trustworthy as getting all the results. People all the time used to file their tax returns with a $1.5 million income, and then go get a loan, and then amend their tax returns down to $150,000, and the lender's holding the bag, having lent the money, let's say 500 grand, on $1.5 million tax returns. So that they're now tracking our borrower behaviors, which are far more trustworthy. So they want to know who they're lending their money to. Next, they want to, we need to set up relationships with the best banks possible, the ones who are actually going to lend to us, and partner with them. All right. Then we want to unlock the smart banking and application strategies. That's what kind of balances, how do we use those balances? How do we run the money that we're already running through the bank? How do we run it through so that it strikes the underwriting software and we get a credit offer? I'll give you a perfect example. I call him Tennessee Tom. He was doing short-term rentals. He was depositing. He'd been working at one bank for 7 years. Been at the bank 7 years. Never had any meaningful conversation with anybody but a teller in making his deposits. Running 20-ish grand through the account. 7 years at this bank account. He's sitting in a chair just like you are now, watching presentation very much like this, and he says, I want to change it up. I want to use what I've already got going on to be able to get money, especially prime plus 1% unsecured, right? And much of it is no doc, because they trust the borrower behaviors they're measuring on your profile. You can understand why no doc is a thing now. Well, so first thing we have him do after we organize his setup, we have him close his 7-year-old bank account. And we have him open a brand new bank account, but we do it the right way. There is a way. I can hear myself. Somebody got their mute off. There's a right way to open up the account. I'll even give you an example. This is a freebie for you guys. Do you realize most of us think it's a solid that our bank's doing us a solid when they open up a check guarantee card or a overdraft protection account, right? Do you realize that is a lender test? Straight out of FICO. I have pictures talking to the guy at the kiosk at FICO World, talking about overdraft. It is a lender test. If you are afraid of your account going under zero and you want this protection, that tells the bank that they should be afraid that you don't have enough cash flow going through your account, that you're going to go through zero. Do you think they're going to lend us money if we can't manage our own? They're watching how we run our accounts, you guys. And so Tennessee Tom, we literally shut down an account. We opened it up. We told him what kind of a baseline balance to have. We told him how to run the traffic through. Within 90 days, the bank, he walked in to make deposits. Bank manager comes out of his office and introduces himself and says, hey, would you like to go to lunch? He's like, I've never heard of this. I've never even talked to this guy more than a hi and a bye. And they go to lunch, and he says, yeah, the bank wanted me to reach out to you because you've qualified for an $85,000 business line of credit. 7 years. He's never had a conversation, even remote. Deposits, that's all he did. They offered him $85,000 in 90 days of running his account correctly. And he heard similar things in a train just like this. The branch manager received an email from the system that he was pre-approved for an $85,000 out of $100,000. No doc, no inquiry, just based on his banking relationship alone, offered an $85,000 business line of credit. It's insane. How many of us want the bank to send an email with your name on it saying, hey, $50,000, $75,000, $85,000, $100,000. This guy this guy has already been pre-approved because they're measuring everything you do with your bank account, guys. Everything. They measure everything. Okay, so we've got to unlock those FICO smart banking and application strategies. That next, we're going to minimize negative borrower profile data. We've got to clean up your identity, make sure they know who is borrowing the money. Take a look at any negative accounts that you have there, or things that are weighing your approval readiness down. Next, we're going to optimize those borrower behaviors so we can trigger predictable approvals. Guys, it is inevitable. Check all the boxes, you get an approval. Are you following my madness here? Are you getting this? Credit, financing, and funding approvals come as a result of checking the boxes, period. The boxes, once you know them, are easy to check. So now you can see why the $1 Million Freedom Formula is the best way to get credit, financing, and funding. So let me show you exactly how you will get these approvals. Perfect example. Most people fit into one of these, exactly how you can do this. So Derek and Aisha, they were stuck. She was in the armed services in Delaware. He was in North Carolina. The business, a real estate business, was in Atlanta, and their funding entity was a Wyoming corporation and a restricted business. They had funds scattered between 3 states, 4 banks, and repeatedly got denied for credit lines and credit cards. They were frustrated and they were stuck in their W-2 positions. We ran them through the 5 funding areas: make your business identity approval ready, get the right banking partnerships, unlock smart banking strategies, minimize negative borrow data, optimize their personal and business identities, and get their borrow behaviors in line. Within 180 days, they were approved for a $580,000 unsecured real estate credit line. 30 days later, they got at the second target bank, they were approved for $200 in unsecured credit line combination. No taxes, no financials, no income verification, no doc. They both got to leave their W-2 positions. Teresa was a notes buyer. She was stuck because of her borrower behavior. So the previous guys, these guys were stuck because of their identity. It was scattered state. They had no idea how the banks run what they need to be able to approve you, and we got them in alignment. Teresa was carrying too high a dollar volume on her credit cards. She was actually using business charges. I know nobody in this group charges anything for the business on your personal credit cards, right? Not one of us puts business expenses. You guys, because they know the type of credit instruments you're using and where you're carrying balances. And because you're carrying balances on your personal profile, that's like putting sand into the gas tank of a Formula One race car. You've got an amazing vehicle, but you're feeding it balances from business, and you're crushing your opportunities to win. She didn't know how lenders were evaluating that personal and business profile. Her applications for credit lines were always denied, and she was discouraged because her cash flow, she was in a net 90 business. The notes it took her 90 days to turn the notes, turn a non-performing into performing, etc. She couldn't grow faster because she couldn't cash flow to buy more notes. Put her through all 5 steps. This is her in her own words.
I did what you said to do. Just a couple of things, and my score went up 30 points right away. And so within 6 months, my score went up over 100, and I was already in the 700. So my score's nearly perfect now. And they all line up, and I was able to achieve, a $500,000 unsecured line of credit my first time out of the gate with my first bank. So
listen to this.
That really put me in a position to change the game that I'm executing to change my retirement strategy. And in fact, I actually used the line of credit recently for the first time, so it put me into $1 million asset that I would not have been able to secure. And in fact, the bank, I was putting all the documentation together and they called me and said, okay, we're done. And I said, don't you want the paperwork? And they said, no, your credit score is fine. In fact, it's unusually fine. So we're just going to give it to you. We don't need any more paper and it'll be an unsecured line of credit. So $500,000 later.
500 grand, no documentation. She was prepared to give it, didn't need it. Why? Why didn't they need the documentation? Because they said, your profile is unusually fine. Even the loan officers don't know what's happening under the hood of this Formula One racer, right? They have no idea what's happening. So they said, yeah, you're approved. No docs required. You guys, come on. That's insane. So score went up over 100 points. Within 6 months, 500 grand, got all 500 up front. No taxes, no financials, no income verification, no docs. Took down $1 million cash flowing asset to fortify her retirement plans. Out of the park, right? So Robert does fix and flips, and he is a doctor. So after hang on. Oh, well, apparently the text is missing there. So he actually had some derogatory accounts on his profile, and we had to age those accounts out because lenders have what's called a FICO shadow of how long a negative item will negatively affect your credit profile. Well, once you're through that shadow, usually you're approvable again. So we just had to do the work on timing his approvals. But after his funding formula, the quality of his credit prevented him from getting credit lines or loans. He had to use private money to fund his deals. He was spending over 80 grand in hard money interest. We put him through those 5 points, and this is him in his own words.
Since starting with the program, my personal credit score has gone up over 150 points. One of the things that I was absolutely astonished by was how easy it was when I walked into the bank and just asked for a sizable line of credit. And it was the easiest application to fill out. And it was the least amount of hassle and interrogation. I provided absolutely no documentation. And I was able to 2 or 3 days later get, a confirmation that they had approved the lines of credit for both of them.
Then 4 months later,
I could not believe it, Merrill. I couldn't believe it. I'm sitting there. The guy pops up on the computer as he's, entering the data. And he's like, you qualify for a $20,000 line of credit card, a business credit card. I said, yeah, you know what? Let's do it. He said, there's no credit pulls. There's no way. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Then he goes a little bit further. They're saying that you qualify for up to $100,000 line of credit. Would you like to do that? Yes. Yes, I do. Next thing you know, $50,000 they approved. That's awesome. That day that they pulled the credit, they use Experian. My Experian credit score that day was 848.
Out of 850.
There it is. It was like perfect.
You guys, so I'm gonna share with you another feature of these approvals. His negative account was re-aged, got past that FICO shadow. His score went up 150 points. Remember, I don't care what your score is coming to me because you're thinking that your score matters. I don't. But what we're doing is when we build the score based on a highly approvable credit profile where all your borrow behaviors are dialed in, that means they're willing to risk more money with you. Now, the interesting thing about Robert's case is that the first two banks gave him 50 out of 100 each. So it was 100 grand between two banks. And Since then, he has raised those up to 100 each. Think of these credit lines as like a construction loan. There's not a single lender out there that gives you the $1 million to build a house. They will give you 200 grand and make sure you don't run off to Vegas and put it on red. They're going to see if you put in the foundation, if you put in the framing, then they give you more money and more money and more money because it's a new relationship. What's interesting is the more you use the same lender, after the fourth, fifth, or sixth one, they're giving you more money up front or doing more houses simultaneously. Same with credit lines. Notice what it says here. 6 months, first bank approved for 100 grand, got 50 of it up front to prove up. I have software. I've developed software where you just put in your approval. It tells you how to use the credit line so that it triggers automatic limit increases. We call them CLIs, credit limit increases. And then the same day, second bank approved. These were 90-day banking relationships, 3 full statement cycles. That's why it was a new relationship. That's why he got the 50 out of the 100. Whereas Teresa got 500 because she'd had a relationship, but she just didn't have a fundable profile. Are you guys getting this? We have a Rubik's Cube, and all we got to do is, there are formulas for doing the Rubik's Cube that within 17 moves, all the colors each have their own side. That's all we're doing here. 4 months later, third bank, it was a 3-month statement relationship. Only was at the bank for 3 months. A $20,000 business credit card and another $100,000 approval. 50,000 of it was given up front. So that's insane. And there was no inquiry for him because of the nature of his relationship. The last one, Paige was stuck because of her banking relationships. None of her credit cards were with her business bank. Her business balances were on her credit cards, like Teresa, wasn't leveraging her credit card traffic to send positive messages to lenders. She had low limits. So somebody's not going to give you 100 grand if the most you have is $5,000 limit. That's way too different. We got to work on it, and we got to do the right credit cards in the right order for the right, because there are different tiers of credit cards. Tier 1, national banks. Tier 2, regional banks. Tier 3, credit unions and community banks. Tier 4, all the junk out there, department stores, web, fintech, and kind of predatory lenders. All right. So she used multiple accounts to handle her cash flow. I'm a big believer in profit first, but she had originally set up the multiple accounts in her profit first, so she wasn't getting any juice from the banking software. We set it up so that a bank account was getting all the juice, and then it went to profit first accounts, and it worked like a charm. Again, just got to know the rules of the game. We put her through the FICO-based funding formula, and in 21 days, her score went up over 100 points, $100,000 business credit card, same bank, business credit line, second target bank, $100,000 with a $50,000 up front. That was 250 up front, 300 total lines. No taxes, no financials, no income verification. You guys, no docs. And then I lied, because apparently there's one more. Jason, he's a medical practice optimizer. He's got a great medical practice, and he helps other doctors. Since Jason has become actually a dear friend and has become my doctor, but none of his credit cards were with his business bank, wasn't leveraging his score was over 800. His revenues were good, but he was still getting denied because of how he was using his accounts. Put him through the system. Within 90 days, $100,000 upfront. 60 days later, it was increased to $300,000. 180 days later, another 80,000. Second target bank, 150 commercial property credit line, unsecured. It wasn't secured on the property. Leveraged. He took the money from those credit lines to put down on an owner carryback of 620 acre property and retreat lodge, where he was going to invite his doctors to come to their trainings to learn how to optimize their practices. Bought all that out, then got long-term financing and paid off all of his credit lines. You guys, this is what the opportunities that we have. The opportunities that we have is money allows us to leverage. And then actually, one of my clients talked today about Michael. This is the only guy who's gotten more money than I have. $3.6 million total. But he had 8 Fannie and Freddie loans on his personal profile. You can have up to 10. So he's thinking, hey, I'm just going to carry them all. Didn't know that it was killing his profile. He couldn't get any money, too much available credit. He had like $200,000 in available credit. And if you have too much on your personal, guys, then business isn't going to give you any because you're too exposed. So there's a sweet spot that we can get you to, and then we can take all that extra credit line and put it over on your business. The use of his balance of deposits didn't trigger any interest, and he was, of course, a big flipper. So he was a restricted business. Ran him through all 5 of them, and he had a $500,000 pledge credit line, meaning it wasn't mortgage backed. He didn't have mortgages on it. He gave the county information, the title information. They put it on a list at the bank. He threw properties in there, put the titles towards that line, and he turned them and sold them. He did so well that 6 months later they converted that 500 to $1 million. A year later, increased it to 2 million. No taxes, financials, income verification, no docs. I can't vouch for you as a genius real estate investor, guys, or business owner. I can get you the money to blow your businesses bigger than you ever thought possible. He's the only client to exceed my fundings at 3.6 million. Yep, he was on his way to doubling it. Whew. Awesome, right? This helps personal borrowers get the very best credit you can ever get. If you know somebody who's unfundable, we can help them build an approval-ready profile. Your teenage children, we can start them out to make them fundable by the time they're literally 21. You've got to, anybody who's considering bankruptcy or debt reduction services, those are landmines waiting to blow you up. And if you're recovering from financial devastation, all these tools can help. But you as real estate and business entrepreneurs, you can start business without credit card stacking and ruining your process or ruining your personal profile. Expanding and capitalizing your business, it's great for new investors, experienced investors. It doesn't matter what you're doing. All the note buyers, multifamily, fix and flip, buy and hold, and wholesalers. Every one of you has the ability to create. This kind of these funding approvals. It works for anyone who simplifies or does these 5 simple steps. So the question to you is, now what? Well, all we need to do is find out how close you are to getting your 100 to $1 million. You saw 500,000, 580 plus. I showed you examples of people that got up to 790 in just the examples that I've showed you. So let's get to here. I want to show you David Smith, the FICO. These are his words about our working together.
Talking about a metric where,
and we're a FICO world.
Of the people, if they follow this plan, have gotten accepted for loans or loan products, lines or whatever. If you were at 75%, I would still say, hey, go use this guy, right? But you're not at 75%. He kind of cracked that nut. You figured, you've got the decoder ring and you're figuring this out.
He's referring to the number that we have in the last 9 months, we have 100% approvals
Yeah.
for people who followed exactly what I indicated for them to do in their coaching process. It's 93% for those few people that went off the reservation.
Right. Yeah. No, and again,
They went,
I'm buying at 93%. I'm buying at 85%. I'm buying at 75%. But no, you're far too accurate. You've cracked the nut. You listen to what the underwriters are telling your people,
yeah.
and you're putting that back into the system, and that feedback loop goes a long way.
Oh,
you know?
man. Yeah.
And Merrill's just a
It's 6
hound
o'clock.
about collecting that stuff. He's like what your customers, if you call them that, I don't know,
Clients,
the clients, the ROI from what they're paying to what they're getting is ridiculous. They're not paying enough for your service. Seriously.
So, so out of the mouth of the people who actually helped me build the software that I have to show you how to become fundable. This is not a hard sell, you guys. You get it or you don't, right? If this is something valuable that you want to explore. If you do, go to getapprovalready.com. You'll see the alignment call. That QR code will also take you to the alignment call. We're here to help you build your empire as fast as you can find the funding to do it. And I'm here to make sure that you guys, take a screenshot of that, go to getapprovalready.com and get an alignment call, get on my calendar, and let's talk about, just talk about what you're up against, what kind of money you're looking for. And the free offer that I have for you guys is that there are, I can provide an analysis. Let me stop sharing my screen. I can share with you an analysis that will give you the exact, and I'm even going to show you a copy of what you get. We will do a deep dive into your what's capable. I've got a generic, this isn't an individual's profile, but let me show you what we will go through in your program, or in this, there we go, sharing again, and here. So I call him Marco Consumer. This is personal credit approval readiness, the borrower profile optimization. And we're going to discover where you stand. This is the diagnostic analysis. So your bullseye at purple and danger at black, red, orange, green at blue. We go over what your profile weaknesses are. We'll look at your profile weaknesses to see exactly what's in your way of getting the money that you would like. We go through your personal borrower identity. So Marco, notice there are 4 versions of his name. Ideal is one. The ideal everywhere is one, except for previous addresses. We want none. So we have 5 previous addresses and 2 different businesses. If there's confusion in your identity, you guys, we got no shot at this. We honestly have no shot at getting approved. Then we go through, these are lower scores, so they're in the black, and it grades you whether you are a top tier borrower, preferred borrower, qualified, or consumer. His credit mix is good, but is suffering in other places. We actually look at the borrower behaviors. The credit report I'm going to send you to get you prepared for your alignment call. We're going to go through your borrower behaviors to know what's in the way and what we can do to fix it. If you have derogatory listings, they're listed. Top tier profile inhibitors. If you're an authorized user, if you have tier 4s, these are they're downgrading the value of your profile. And lenders look at this because these are, if you're picking up department store cars to save 10% on a purchase, that's a consumer borrower behavior. And guys, love me, hate me, but that's what they're measuring. And if you look like a consumer, they're not going to give you top tier money. Next is your revolving accounts portfolio. We grade them. Are they high? Are they a high value account? And how old are they? When were they open? All the things that contribute to or take away from. And then finally, here's your aggregate portfolio metrics. Here's your ideals over here, and whether and how close you get to what those are. So you guys, I want, and when you attend, we review it and you get to take that home. No matter what we decide to do together, that is, you get to take that home. So my name is Merrill Chandler. Thank you guys. I'm happy to take questions if anybody has any questions.
Thank you so much, Merrill. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
And folks, we do have the chat open. Go ahead and post your questions if you have any on the chat. We'd love to answer them.
Absolutely.
Glenn would like to know, what are the costs, Merrill?
Okay, so there's a range because it depends on what your objectives are. Some people are happy at 100 grand. Some people want $1 million or more. They want to be like Michael, and they want to beat me at the funding game. So it depends. We have training for under $1,000. That just gives you the ropes so you can stop making errors and mistakes. We have a 197 package and a 597 package. We have coaching from 5 to 30 grand, depending on what you want. It's how much do you want to do? How much do you want me to do? There's all of those. It really is how much money do you want? How fast do you want it? And then who's doing the work? So it's simple to decide once I know, because some of you may not qualify for the 30 grand. You would be willing to pay it. If I can't get you the money, I'm not going to take the money. Does that make sense? We're going to look at your situation and establish what you're capable of now versus 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, because I've been doing this for 30 plus years. So I'm not going anywhere, and I've got long-term relationships with a lot of people. So that, Glenn, that was a long answer to a short question, but it's a range. I would love to give you a formula, but it really is, what do you want and how fast do you want it? That's going to be, and of course, the more cost for the more money for the faster time period. Correct. But it's free to do an alignment call. That's why we call it an alignment call. It's what are we even close in what we're looking to do? Somebody who's got a 550 credit score and no business and wants $1 million, we're not in alignment. I want it yesterday, but I cannot find you. Get approval ready will put you right on my calendar. Thetis.
Merrill, would you like to give me a link to your calendar? That way I can post it on the chat. I'd be happy to do that so people can go right into your calendar and schedule a call with you.
Oh, yeah, hang on. I'm putting that right. Yeah, I just went to get approval ready and it's right there. So let me put this in the chat, messaging everyone. Yeah, approval ready is one word. There you go. Get approval ready and click the alignment call. But there's our numbers. 93 first time approvals, 93%, 1.462 for me. And I'm not done yet. And 300 million in a plus in our company approvals. Can you find federal government financing like SBA? Are you talking, or can you fund federal government financing? Or I don't know what you mean by find federal. Can you fund federal government financing like SBA? I can prepare you for SBA, piece of cake, but there's other money available to you that is way easier because SBA requires a whole bunch of stuff and at least 200 grand. At least 200 grand is no doc. Why not let's get the easy low hanging fruit first. Now, when you say also, um, when you say federal government financing, oh, give me an idea. Are you looking to buy out student loans, credit lines? Just so you know, the SBA does more loaning. They do credit lines, but they will back bank credit lines. That's a last resort, because anything over 25,000. Be aware of this, guys. Anything over 25,000, they put a UCC, which kind of knocks you out of the funding game. Oh, you're talking about buying contracts. You can use this money for anything. I do not have a program. Remember, I'm not the lender, guys. I'm repositioning you to go to many lenders to get funding. Remember, the Robert Villegas literally was three banks in 4 months, right? You can't get more than I position you to go to banks to get approved. So $10 million contract for the Navy. Yeah, that's not what we do. I am not a financier. I might be able to connect you with somebody, but I am not the financier. So I'm not carrying any paper, you guys. I'm making you bank ready so a bank approves you. Yeah, getapprovalready.com. Any other questions, guys? I get on my calendar, Thetis, because I'm open to I can talk to one of my people. It'd be worth a 15-minute conversation. I can talk to my group and see, because I need to know what you're doing. What you're typing here certainly does not give me a clear idea. If you're looking to buy a government contract at discount from somebody else, see, I don't know what you're talking about. But I'm happy for you to schedule an appointment. Yeah. Anybody else? All right, you guys.
Wonderful. Great, Merrill. I would encourage everyone on this call to make an appointment with Merrill. He can certainly help you in getting the right funding. He can direct you with people that can help you. But more importantly, before you even get to the funding, he can make you ready so that you can be approved for the dollar amount that you're seeking. So I would encourage everyone on this call, you're on this call for a reason, and take advantage of the insight and the expertise that Merrill has. So please definitely make an appointment with him and go to getapprovalready.com. That's getapprovalready.com. And please be sure to let him know that you were on the Realty 411 call.
Yeah.
And he'll take really good care of you. Merrill has been speaking to our group for over a decade.
Yep.
And we're so happy that he's still doing what he's doing, because he's helped out a lot of people in our network.
Yeah.
One gentleman, Brandon, told me at the last in-person event that Merrill really made a big difference in his life. He was able to get credit, get the funding he needed for the goals that he had in his life. So it really made a positive impact. So I would encourage everyone to make a call with, book a call with Merrill and make that connection to see how he can help you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for inviting me. And you guys, it's been a pleasure to spend this hour and change with you. So I'd love to hear from you, and let's take a look. Let's see how close you are to getting those approvals. You guys have a great evening.
Thank you again, Merrill. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Go to getapprovalready.com and book your appointment with Merrill today. Have a great evening. Bye bye, everyone.